review of the brand new Jet 1.5 horsepower Cyclone Dust Collector. This new series of Jet dust collectors come in 3 different sizes. This is the 1.5 horsepower model. It comes in a 2 horsepower model as well as a 3 horsepower model. Let's take a close look at all the features. This is the 1.5 horsepower motor. It's mounted on top of the Cyclone. One of the nice things about the 1.5 horsepower motor is that it's the only one of the 3 models that will run on a 110 volt line. The other 2 models require a 220 volt line. This dust collector has what's known as 2-stage separation. The first stage is a cyclone. This will capture the larger particles. The cyclone spins everything around and the large particles are dropped down into a drum below. The second stage is this pleated filter. This will capture very fine dust particles as small as 0.5 of a micron to 1 micron in size. The unit can be set up utilizing one 6-inch inlet, or as I have it set up, with 2 4-inch inlets. There's a 13-inch impeller directly connected to the motor. The unit can develop up to 1300 CFM. The unit can be turned on one of 2 ways. Each way you have to put on the main power switch. The first way you can turn the machine on is by pushing a button on top of the power supply. The second method is by using a remote control that comes with the unit, and it can activate the dust collector from as far as 50 feet away. Here's what the unit sounds like from a distance of approximately 6 feet away. The unit is rated at 75 decibels. The unit has 2 different sized dust collecting plastic bags. The first one is located in the 20-gallon canister below the Cyclone. The second plastic bag is attached to the pleated filter and it catches the finer particles. As I stated earlier, debris is sucked in through the main inlet. Then a circular motion is created inside the canister, hence the term cyclone. The heavier particles will then fall down into the 20-gallon canister. One of the best features that drew me to this dust collector is how you clean out the bottom canister. You open the quick release levers, the canister is on its own wheels, and you roll it out. As you can see, there's a metal frame that keeps the plastic bag from collapsing from the suction. In order to clean out the bag, you remove the frame, and you simply take the plastic bag and you can empty out the debris. You can reuse the bag a number of times before it has to be replaced. After the bag has been emptied, simply wheel the canister back into position and lower the clamps. There's even a clear window on the canister with a level indicator to let you know when it's time to clean out the plastic bag, so you don't have to keep opening it to check. Whatever's not captured by the Cyclone then will pass over to the canister. The dust will be collected in another plastic bag below the canister. The filtered air will then come out through the canister. There's even a mechanism for cleaning out fine particles that get caught in the pleated filter. You simply grab the handle, turn the crank, and the finer particles then drop down into the plastic bag. When the plastic bag beneath the filter gets filled, it can also be emptied and reused. There's a quick release clamp. You simply open the clamp, drop the bag down, empty the bag, and you can put the bag back on. As I said before, the plastic collection bags are very heavy duty and can be used over and over again. I did purchase some replacement bags from Jet, and I received them within a couple of days. They're very inexpensive, less than $2.50 a bag. The unit requires 2 different size bags. One size goes in the 20-gallon Cyclone drum, and the second one goes beneath the filter. Now let's talk about assembly. Assembly was relatively easy and could be done by one person with the exception of lifting up the Cyclone and motor unit. This requires 2 people. When I purchased the unit from Woodcraft, I noticed the display had these large metal eyelets on top of the canister, and I was wondering what they were for. Once I read the manual, I realized that they suggest that you lift the motor and Cyclone unit up with a hoist. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't have a hoist in my woodshop, so I had to get creative. The unit comes packaged with 2 very large pieces of styrofoam. I took one of the pieces and put it on its side, and it came up to about here. Then I measured how much higher I had to raise this portion to mount into the frame. I took a reciprocating saw, and I cut the other piece of styrofoam and placed it on top of the first. Then I was able to lift the unit up, rested on top of the styrofoam, and my wife and I were able to steady it while we put the bolts in on both sides. It worked out very well. From that point on, assembly is much easier. The dust collector comes with rubber sealing tape that goes on the inlet, the top of the canister funnel, as well as where it attaches to the canister. One problem I did have with assembly is these plastic ornate side panels. I put them on as the directions suggested. When I did so, the small plastic brackets on each one cracked and broke. I contacted Jet, and they promptly sent me out new panels. When I assembled the second time, what I did was I used a heat gun to gently heat and expand the plastic. I also put a little dishwasher detergent on, and it slipped on and snapped on nicely and easily. How does the unit work? Before I tell you, let me explain where I'm coming from. For the last 5 years, I've been running a Harbor Freight 2-horsepower dust collector in my shop. It's one of the true values you can get from them. To be honest with you, it's nowhere near 2 horsepower. The second problem was the unit was extremely large. And then I had a Cyclone that I had built. It was a trash can with a third-party Cyclone plastic top I'd purchased. And then I had to run another hose between the main dust collector and the Cyclone. Now on the surface, this unit appears to be much more expensive. But when you factor in the cost of the Harbor Freight collector, it's $250. You get the 20% off, so it's $200. Then you have to buy the metal trash can, another $30. The Cyclone lid for the trash can, another $30, and then another $30 to $50 for the plastic hose. Now we're talking about $350. Now the price point between the Harbor Freight unit and this is much closer. Jet often runs a 15% off sale, and I was able to purchase this unit for under $900. Again, the price point's a lot closer when you factor in all the things you need to do to make a Harbor Freight or lesser dust collector even approach the usability of this Cyclone model. So back to the main question, how does it work? Unbelievable. I noticed right away when I hooked it up to my tools that there was a lot more suction than I'd ever had before in my shop. I could hear the suction when I attached it to the miter saw or the bandsaw. I could hear the whistling coming out of the throat plates. I'd never heard that before. Now, miter saws are notorious for throwing sawdust all over the shop. Let's take a close look and see how well the dust collector works. As you can see, a very, very minimal amount of sawdust remains on the saw. Let's see how it works with the bandsaw. As you can see, once again, a very minimal amount of dust remains on the table of the bandsaw. The biggest surprise was when I opened the bottom of the bandsaw up. I used to always have to open it up and vacuum out all the sawdust. Well, upon opening, you can see there's no dust remaining. The dust collector created such a vacuum that it removed all of the dust. One of the biggest advantages over my old setup is how compact this unit truly is. Believe it or not, the unit only takes up 31 inches by 20 inches of floor space. I have been more than thrilled with my purchase of this unit. It's far exceeded any expectations I had for it. If you're setting up a new woodworking shop and you're on a budget, you might have to weigh the cost versus what you gain right out of the gate. But I would definitely put it on your eventually to get list. If you do have a budget that would accommodate it, or you're adding to an existing shop, and you want to get superior dust collection, then I highly recommend the Jet Cyclone Dust Collector. Hope you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching.